Next month, a Los Angeles judge will decide the fate of the infamous Menendez brothers after recommendations to re-sentence them for the murder of their parents in 1989. Erik and Lyle Menendez received life in prison without the possibility of parole. A new resentencing could now make them eligible for parole. Their attorneys are hoping the brothers could be released by this Thanksgiving. But the move is sparking questions on how it changes the legal landscape. So we brought in a local defense attorney, Josh Kolsrud, who spent 14 years as a prosecutor and was an assistant U.S. attorney as well. Josh, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It feels like it's amazing what Netflix can do, because a couple docs dropped recently, and now here we are discussing this case.
It seems that if you're a defendant in prison, all you need is a Netflix documentary and Kim Kardashian coming to visit you, and you know that usually means release.
And is that concerning?
It's very concerning in this case, and I'll tell you why. So, George Gascon, who used to be the sheriff of the city of Mesa and a conservative Republican, switched parties, and he's now the DA in Los Angeles County. And he is as progressive as DAs can come. And his philosophy is rehabilitation as opposed to retribution or punishment. And so he's taking a new look at cases, especially high-profile cases that have really harsh sentences. The problem is, in a case like this, where prosecutors call this an abuse excuse. So the Menendez brothers are claiming that their actions were justified to murder their parents in cold blood because the father was sexually abusing them both. But the issue is the mother didn't do anything, right? And we start re-examining this type of situation, it opens the floodgate to every other prisoner that may have suffered abuse to have their case re-examined and start to blame the victim. And what that really leads to is vigilantism, because at some point, if people think that their behavior can be justified because they're going to be able to blame the victim, then that's vigilantism, and then you really don't need police anymore. So this is a huge deal, and it's going to have a chilling effect across the nation. You know, I'm a defense attorney. You know, I like for people to have a fair chance, but I'm also a person too. And you know, the victims of these horrible crimes, you know, they're not going to have a say anymore if the DAs start re-examining these cases like this.
Let's take a look at the two sides here, because many people are saying, well, they were abused, it might have been self-defense in some way, and other people are saying this went to trial.
Sure. And, you know, so there were two trials. The first trial, both Lyle Menendez and his brother Erik, their cases were severed, meaning that they were tried separately. And the judge at the time allowed in the abuse excuse as a defense, and there was a hung jury, meaning that there wasn't a guilty verdict and there wasn't a not guilty verdict. The second jury trial, the cases were combined. They were joined together, and the judge in that case did not allow it. And I'll tell you why. Number one, the judge had an evidentiary hearing and concluded that the allegations were not credible. And there's another thing that nobody's really talking about, and that is the defense attorney, the lead defense attorney for Lyle Menendez, was caught red-handed trying to convince their therapist to change his notes to say that the Menendez brothers had disclosed the abuse much, much earlier than when they did. And, you know, that's really relevant information. And, you know, we need to talk about that, because if you're going to allow a re-examination based on prior abuse, you have to do a credibility assessment. You know, at what point in time did the brothers disclose this information? What is it, you know, is it corroborated or not corroborated? And then go from there.
Well, in my intro, I said they could be released by Thanksgiving. It all seems very quick. Should this slow down a little bit, this process?
It should slow down, and I don't expect that they'll be released before Thanksgiving. So the next hearing is on November 26th, and on that day, the judge will decide whether or not they're going to be resentenced, and they will. And then the sentencing date will likely be set probably 30 to 90 days after that date. And even then, let's assume that the judge at the sentencing hearing is going to grant them parole status. The case then goes to the parole board, which will then evaluate, you know, are they model prisoners? What have they done during their time? Do they have any infractions? What are the views of the victim? What are the views of the prosecutor, the defense attorney? And then, even after that, Governor Newsom will then get the last say. So I'd say that the earliest that they're going to be released, if they are released, is probably going to be in about 6 to 9 months.
Now, a lot of people are talking about it. Thank you for breaking it down for us. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.